Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new TV show spoiler review. And today I'm talking episode 4 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Before I get into my spoiler review of the 4th episode, please leave a like, guys. That's the best way to support this channel. Also, comment down below your spoiler thoughts of the episodes. Is your favorite, least favorite? Tell me, are you excited for these last 2 weeks? And what are your predictions for the last 2 weeks of Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Please subscribe and ring the bell, guys. If you're new to the channel, I do movie reviews, TV reviews like these, streaming platform reviews, and movie rankings. Please, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, ring the bell. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers. It's such a fun community. Please join it as well. You can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd in the description down below. And now let's get into my review. So I was very excited for this episode. Now, I haven't loved this show at all yet, and that includes this episode. And let's just get into it. As you know, I've done the last 3 weeks. I've enjoyed the show. There's been a lot of fun stuff. This, for me, was my least favorite episode of the entire series so far. Now, a lot of people think this is the best, and obviously I'm here for it. Now, maybe it's because I watched Invincible, which I absolutely adore before this, and then watched this, and maybe had too many high expectations. But I felt like this episode was just not as good as it should have been. I felt like it was a fine episode. It could have been a lot better, and I'll get into that right now in spoiler form. So my main MVP, well, we kickstarted with actually a brilliant scene, which is my favorite scene actually of the entire show so far, which is Bucky in Wakanda with Ayo, and it's a really great acting scene from Sebastian Stan. It's a really emotional, powerful scene that I was like, this is going to be fantastic, because this scene was awesome. It's definitely one of the better MCU scenes in a while, and it's Ayo saying the names, that turns him into the word that turns into the Winter Soldier, and this is where Bucky for the first time does not turn into him. He's finally free, and Bucky seeing all those flashbacks and him crying. It was an emotional opening scene. We see that Ayo is giving these guys 8 hours before they're going to come in and take Zemo away. So we had that intrigue. Zemo figures out the place for the funeral for the funeral of the person who died last week. And we get a nice scene of Carly taking away the super soldier serum. And one of her members of the Flag Smashers says, I grew up loving Captain America because he helps people. And that's why I'm kind of here with you, because you're kind of a Captain America. And I thought that was a great resemblance between the two of those characters as well. So then we move into John Walker showing up with Hoskins, with these guys. And he said, we're going to stop you right here. Of course, you're ahead of us. All this scene. So then we're just going to get to the main part of the episode. Falcon needs to talk to Carly about everything. One-on-one. Sam knows how to do this. But John Walker says, I'll give you 10 minutes before we'll do it my way. He ties up Zemo, and there they go. So Sam is waiting for the funeral to end. And I was like, well, John Walker's obviously going to come through and ruin all of this. So Sam has a really touching scene with Carly talking about everything, and it was starting to turn around for him, and maybe for Carly as well. And you're like, you're alone. Thanks for being here, meeting me alone. And then John Walker loses his mind that he's waiting there. He just busts his way in. So Carly and Sam, their conversation ends because Carly believes that, of course, Sam was lying to her, that he had backup. So John Walker and Hoskins come in. At the same time, Zemo escapes and starts shooting Carly, and he destroys all of the super soldier serum except one bottle, because John Walker hits him with the shield, and John Walker takes the super soldier, puts it in his pocket. We obviously know he'll take the super soldier serum this episode. Now, I actually thought he had the super soldier serum in episode 1, based on how he was fighting and how when he fell off the truck, he landed on a car and was just perfectly okay. So maybe a lot of common sense didn't really come into play for me in the first couple episodes with how John Walker felt like he had the super soldier serum, but I didn't feel like he did as well. It was a weird combination. So Hoskins and John, so they go back to Zemo's place, to their home, and that's where the Dora Milaje show up. They show up, and they start beating up John Walker and Hoskins, because John Walker's talking down to them, all this stuff. And I love how Buck is like, just let him fight. Just let him go. You're doing great, John. It was a very funny scene. And then Bucky and Sam have to get involved. But as all of them are just fighting each other for no reason, Zemo escapes. And I felt like it was a very dumb part to have just this fight going on and no one's caring about Zemo. It just felt very predictable. And that's what I'll say about this episode. It was a very predictable episode. Nothing really shocked me. Everything was coming a mile away. And I felt like I didn't hate it that I had to guess each thing, especially that once Carly, so this again, Carly calls Sam's sister because it seems like he does trust Sam. Carly calls his sister and gives him a pretty big threat, talking about her kids, and says, "Meet me here," talking to Sam. So Sam would by himself. So Sam obviously does not come by himself because she threatened his nephews. So Bucky also comes, and it seems like the only thing that she wants to do is to kill Captain America. That seems like the main goal too of this mission is to kill Captain America for the Flag Smashers. So when Sharon buzzes into Sam that they know where John Walker is, they all start going off and trying to find Walker. As we know, we also got a scene with Walker talking to Hoskins. That was a good scene. The Walker and Hoskins scene where John Walker was like, if you had the super soldier serum, would you take it? And it did. And when they went to Afghanistan, they lost a lot of brothers, a lot of friends in battle. And maybe if they had the super soldier serum, maybe it wouldn't have happened like that. And that perspective I thought was brilliant. To have that perspective of, you know what, it may turn you to crazy. Maybe you could also save a tons of lives because Steve Rogers was so far been the only character who got the serum and didn't turn into a crazy maniac. And Bucky brings it up in that conversation with Zemo early on in the episode where Zemo's like, all the people who take the serum go cuckoo or have that supremacist feel to it. And he's like, well, that didn't happen to Steve. And Zemo's like, there's only been one Steve Rogers. That scene was brilliant. Now, I'd love to know why Steve didn't turn into a crazy person as well. We'll get to that in a bit. Maybe because he's just a great person in general. But we get that fight scene where they finally show that Hoskins gets captured. So John Walker goes on a rampage. You can see Sam realizing that he has the super soldier serum. And then the big arc of the episode is that Hoskins is killed by Carly. Carly punches him. He goes into the wall and he is killed. And I saw this coming a mile away. Once Hoskins was captured, I was like, Hoskins is definitely dying, so Captain America can kill someone. And once that happens, I was like, it just felt the last 10 to 15 minutes of this episode felt so predictable. I knew everything that was going to happen. Nothing came as a surprise. And that was a huge mistake of the show. The last couple of weeks, the cliffhanger, especially last week, was so good with the Wakandans coming back, and the Wakandans were barely in this episode. I get the opening scene was great, was really great. But then you had Harris saying, we'll give you 8 hours. And then they just came in and fought Walker, Hoskins, and Bucky and Sam, and not even focus on Zemo. So Zemo escapes, of course, this episode. And then we get, as I said, Walker is pissed off that Hoskins is killed. So he wants to go find Carly, but he finds a member of the Flag Smashers who we saw, of course, talk with Carly earlier in the episode. And in front of everyone, he kills this person with the shield, the blood all over him, all over the shield. It was a very brutal scene for the MCU. And I actually thought, while predictable, it definitely hit its mark of you can feel every time he put that shield into the guy's chest. And everyone was watching. And now we need to know what the consequences were of Walker killing a man in the middle of the streets in broad daylight while everyone is watching. Really fascinating thing. But in my opinion, the show still doesn't have anything too big going on yet. We have 2 episodes left to wrap stuff up, but for me, this is a disappointing episode. It felt way too predictable. The first episode, really, this show had 2 amazing scenes this week. The opening scene with Bucky is a really brilliant scene. And the other thing that I love is Sam talking with Carly. And Carly, for me, was the clear MVP of this episode. You got a lot of her motivation, and you really felt her emotion while she's killing people. You still felt her emotion and why she's doing what she's doing. And I like that they're taking their time with the Flag Smashers and why refugees don't trust anyone else but the Flag Smashers for those reasons. So Zemo is escaped. Who knows where Zemo is? No one knows where Dora Milaje are. And Hoskins is killed, and John Walker just killed a man in front of everyone. A lot went down this episode, but for me, it was disappointing because it was just so predictable. It felt like I knew everything that was going to happen this episode, and that was a huge disappointment. So again, I'm still enjoying the show. Unless I'm not loving the show, and Invincible for me is my Fridays, but still enjoying the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Again, I'm the biggest MCU guy, but for me, this show isn't hitting the mark of love like I was with WandaVision. So overall, that's my spoiler thoughts on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Please let me know. Like the video, subscribe, comment, ring the bell, share, all of those things. Follow me on social media. One more review coming today. That is Thunder Force. That's coming late in the afternoon, West Coast time. So thank you guys so much for joining me on this review of Falcon and Winter Soldier. We have 2 more weeks of this. I'll see you guys soon.